Okay, so yesterday we left off where Hiccup and Kamikaze are climbing the portcullis, and then Fishlegs is climbing the portcullis behind them to escape from the amphitheatre. I'm climbing as fast as I can, Fishlegs shouted back up indignantly. I'm not stopping to admire the view or anything. He'd better make it quick, advised Toothless into Hiccup's ear. Toothless sees that nasty Alvin coming our way. Sure enough, Alvin was running towards them along the top of the battlements. You try and delay him, Toothless, Hiccup ordered. Fishlegs, you really need to hurry up. Toothless held Alvin up by attacking his toga. I should have killed you while I had the chance, you wretched reptile, cursed Alvin, lashing out with his hook and trying to catch him, while Fishlegs climbed the last couple of meters. Hiccup helped haul Fishlegs into the basket, and Kamikaze cut the rope. Go, 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 yelled Kamikaze, and the Gronkle set a bright breath of flame up into the balloon, and it rose off the battlements into the air. But just as it rose, a golden hook clunked into the bottom of the basket and held fast. The Gronkle gave another big puff, and the great balloon shot gracefully upwards, and the grim hook, together with Alvin the Treacherous, shot up too. Sorry, said Toothless, crash landing on Hiccup's helmet. I couldn't keep him back any longer. Fishlegs glanced over the basket's side, then looked at Hiccup with popping eyes. Oh dear, is that who I think it is? He moaned. It's like a nightmare. We can't get rid of him. Hiccup dared himself to take a look over the rim of the basket. There was Fort Sinister, rapidly getting smaller as they rose away from it. And there, swinging from the bottom of the basket by his hook alone, was Alvin the Treacherous. He made a savage swipe at Hiccup with his free arm, and Hiccup ducked quickly back into the safety of the basket. Right, said Hiccup. I wouldn't put it past him to climb in from that position. Everybody start running clockwise. Toothless, I want you to grab this rope and pull it in the same direction. We have to get this balloon spinning round. Altogether they began to run, and the balloon began to spin, slowly at first, and then with gathering speed, round and round and round, like the hopeful Puffin having one of her turns. And as that balloon spun, it slowly unscrewed the hook of Alvin the Treacherous. He felt his hook loosening and realized what was happening, but there was nothing he could do. I'll get you, Hiccup Horrendous Haddock III, cursed Alvin, as the hook unscrewed as far as it would go. I'll get you one day! And he plunged downwards into the sea and a mass of waiting sharkworms, leaving only a great golden hook swinging from the bottom of the basket. The balloon soared upwards, and as the screams of Alvin grew fainter and fainter, so too did the shrieks of the dragons, and the whole wild cacophony of Fort Sinister died away in a matter of moments. Hiccup, Fishlegs, and Kamikaze slumped to the floor of the basket. Quietly, softly, the balloon drifted on. The only sound was the gentle puffs of the Gronkle's flames and the panting of the Vikings as they caught their breaths, their hearts beginning to slow down. Gradually they smiled at one another as they realized that they might, just possibly, be safe at last. Phew, said Kamikaze, bright red in the face. Oh, that was a close one. What did I tell you? You can't keep a bog burglar under lock and key. And you didn't do too badly for boys, of course. Hiccup staggered to his feet and peered over the edge of the basket. A warm breeze blew his hair back. Look, cried Hiccup, pointing downwards and then turning back to the others in sudden excitement. My father's war party! He did send it after all. Well, I don't know what you're so pleased about. It is a bit late, don't you think? Grumbled Fishlegs. Well, one day earlier and it could have saved me about 3,000 heart attacks. Doesn't matter, grinned Hiccup. He sent it, and that's the important thing. He doesn't think Snotlout would make a better heir after all. And there's Alvin's hook in the basket. And it's made of solid gold as well. The Return of the Heroic Heirs, Chapter 22. On the deck of the Blue Whale, Stoic the Vast waited to receive a visit from Chief Big Boobied Bertha Bogburglar, who was about to come aboard. Stoic had decided on Plan B, send out the rescue war party, rather than Plan A, fight the Bogburglars. But Big Boobied Bertha was making Plan B difficult to carry out by following the hooligan rescue war party with the entire Bogburglar navy the whole way from Berg. So Stoic had sent a carrier dragon with a very polite message to Big Boobied Bertha, suggesting that they talk things through. And now he was pacing up and down, trying to tell himself how Hiccup would act in this situation. Right, I have to stay calm, he muttered. Hiccup was right. These blood feuds will be the death of us Vikings, and it's my job as chief to put a stop to them. I hope you're going to bash this Big Boobied Bertha Bogburglar chieftain on the nose, Stoic, roared Baggy Bum, the beer belly. If you don't do it, I might have to myself. Yes, the only good bog burglar is a dead bog burglar, sneered Snotlout. Snotlout was feeling extremely pleased with the way that things were turning out. It looked like Hiccup was finally out of his way. And now they could have a big fight with the bog burglars, and Snotlout could show off about what a great fighter he was. Stoic ignored both of them and went on with his pacing. Right, I have to explain to Big Boobied Bertha, calmly, that I think the Romans have stolen our heirs, and that is why I'm sending out this war party. Right, I have to stay calm at all times. Big Boobied Bertha stomped on board, her beard bristling, fists like sledgehammers, ears like cauliflowers. She had once stunned a stag with one blow of her mighty bosoms, and many a smaller animal had suffocated in their stern depths. She gave Baggy Bum the beer belly an arrogant shove out of the way and stood in front of Stoic with her hands on her hips. Stoic swallowed hard. He could feel his ears beginning to burn. Right, stay calm, Stoic, he warned himself. Oh, this is going to be hard. It was always going to be impossible. I always knew you were a fat burglar and an heir stealer, roared Big Boobied Bertha, but I never knew you would run away like a cowardly jellyfish. I was not running away, yelled Stoic. He nearly exploded with the effort of trying to control himself. Now calm at all times, Stoic, calm at all times, remember, he muttered, before continuing. I have strong reasons to believe that our heirs have been stolen by the Romans. I am sending out this rescue war party. Strong reasons, my bottom, boomed Big Boobied Bertha. Here she is. You are running away because hooligans are the yellowest baby rabbits in the inner aisles. This hooligan could take you with one hand behind his back and only using his little finger, screamed Stoic the Vast, and there was a strong chance that Plan B might have turned rapidly into Plan A. If the two chiefs, who were nose to nose, yelling at one another, had not heard a noise that made them look suddenly upwards, where they saw to their astonishment an enormous Roman observation balloon descending very rapidly in their direction. The bog burglars and the hooligans had been so busy focusing on each other that they haven't even noticed the balloon above them. But they certainly noticed it now, as it was partly deflated and screaming towards the deck of the Blue Whale at about 100 miles an hour. When they spotted the hooligan war party, it was Hiccup who suggested that they try and land the balloon on one of the ships. He got the sad Gronkle to stop blowing flames so the balloon could descend, and he got Toothless to take a rope in his mouth to steer the balloon in the right direction. Work, 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 grumbled Toothless. Why can't somebody else do it? Yeah, because you're the only one with wings, Toothless, exclaimed Hiccup patiently. Kamikaze half hung over the edge of the balloon as it descended, enjoying the wind blowing through her hair. Oh, you've got to hand it to those Romans. They are clever. This is the only way to travel. I wonder if we could build one of these things. Hey, aren't they my mother's boats, alongside their hooligan ships? Hiccup leaned over to check. Oh yeah, so they are, he said in surprise. Maybe the grown-ups saw sense and at last and decided to send a joint rescue party. I must say I'm amazed. That's a real sign of progress for the Viking tribes. The descent would have continued in this controlled fashion if it hadn't been for the little booby trap that Alvin the Treacherous had slipped between the pages of How to Speak Dragonese when he returned it to Hiccup. The booby trap was a tiny little bright yellow dragon, same size as the Garastica, known as the venomous Vorpant. This particular Vorpant had crawled out of Hiccup's pocket, had a long, slow look around the basket while everyone was relaxing, and then begun to climb up Fishleg's trouser leg. Fishlegs only noticed it when it began to walk across his hand. And then he let out a scream and flicked his hand so that this Vorpant sailed upwards, and the immensely pointed sting in its tail tore a great rip in the surface of the balloon. The descent then became a bit more rapid. Stoic the Vast and Big Booby Bertha jumped apart, and the basket of the balloon crashed onto the deck between them. The balloon itself became entangled in the sails of the Blue Whale. There was an astonished silence, and then one by one the sad Gronkel, Toothless, Kamikaze, Fishlegs and Hiccup came crawling out of the tipped over basket. And there's an information fact page about the venomous Vorpant. This bright yellow nanodragon carries poison in both the glands in its neck and its tail. The sting of a venomous Vorpant is absolutely always fatal. Fatal means it will kill you. Statistics: bright yellow, armed with deadly venom, fear factor 9, attack 9, speed 8, size 1, disobedience 9. Close relative, the sand rattler. Well, Fishlegs was lucky not to get stung by it. Great were the celebrations in the hooligan and bog burglar tribes when they realised their heirs had been returned to them unharmed. The battle songs being beaten out on the war drums turned to songs of triumph. The two great snaky lines of warships rang out with cheers, and the warriors fired their arrows into the air in their joy, which incidentally is not to be recommended. Someone could take their eye out doing that, but hooligans and bog burglars were not known for their common sense. Stoic hugged his son and said no words, but Hiccup knew what he meant. Stoic Big Bertha said at last, as she lifted her daughter onto her mighty shoulders, by way of apology, I would like to give you a little gift. Big Boobied Bertha clapped her hands, and one of her warriors brought forward a gigantic shield. Waistline of Woden, exclaimed Fishlegs, staring down at the shield. You realise what this is, don't you? It's only the shield of Grimbeard the Ghastly. It was indeed Grimbeard the Ghastly's famous shield, taken in a battle by the bog burglars many years before, and held by the tribe as a trophy ever since. It was perfectly round, and in the centre was a skull crowned by seaweed, around which waves and dragons chased each other in an endless circle. Snotlout's eyes gleamed. Snotlout was feeling extremely put out. Here was Hiccup turning up yet again, not dead, not drowned, and not eaten by sharkworms, and it didn't look like there was going to be a fight after all. But now he saw he could prove he was destined to be chief, not Hiccup. Snotlout picked up the shield of Grimbeard the Ghastly, and he held it victoriously over his head. It was a glorious moment. Snotlout looked magnificent standing there, nobly, all muscly and tattooed, with the last rays of the setting sun blazing over the horizon and sending flashes of silver off the shield and into the sky. The watching hooligans, some of whom were not very sure what was going on, and all of whom were not very bright, assumed that Snotlout had saved the day in some way. He certainly looked good. They started shouting, "Snotlout, Snotlout, Snotlout," and the bog burglars replied with cries of "Kamikaze, Kamikaze." End of part 1.